And as events marking International Women's Day continue across the world, we're joined now by Brita Fernandez Schmidt, the Executive Director of Women for Women, an NGO that helps female war survivors rebuild their lives. Thanks so much for speaking to us. This must be an unprecedented time for your organization, given the number of conflicts and humanitarian crises around the world. So tell us what you're up against and where the most help is really needed.
Thank you so much, and happy International Women's Day to everybody. Women for Women International is operating in fragile and conflict-affected states. And the reality is that nowadays 90% of all casualties in war are women and children. So women are disproportionately affected by conflict. That is because they tend to be, particularly in the countries where we work, where we find women living in extreme poverty, countries like the Democratic Republic of the Congo or Afghanistan or the Kurdistan region of Iraq, where many of the women we work with are illiterate. They've not had access to the most basic education. That means that they will probably be working in the fields. That immediately exposes them to violence. We see a huge number of the women that we help having experienced violence. As we know, rape is being used as a weapon in war. And so it's a war tactic. And during the worst times in the Congo, 1,000 women were raped every day. So the realities are that women are affected by that violence. And when the conflict ends, they are still living with that trauma. Right. So women need help to overcome those traumas.
And in order to really do your work, you need to get, you need to get cooperation from governments in order to get on the ground and help these women directly. Have the various governments you've had to deal with responded well to your efforts?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very important for us. We are non-governmental, so we're apolitical, but it's very important for us, of course, to get the permission to actually work with the communities in countries like, Afghanistan. And where we can, we collaborate with the ministry, the Minister of Women, if it exists. In many of the communities where we operate, it's actually, we're finding those women who are not benefiting from any government services. So we're providing a service right now that is not being provided by the government. But in some countries like Rwanda, we are working with the government, and they are actually building on the efforts and the lessons that we have learned and now rolling out those programs nationwide. And that, of course, is our hope, that we go in where women need our help, but that then eventually the government take over, because that is really how it has to be.
Okay. Let's look at the upside, though. I mean, on the whole, has the world improved for women over the past decades? I mean, the United Nations only actually recognized International Women's Day in 1975. So has it at least gotten better on the grand scale?
Absolutely, it's hugely improved. I think we are actually witnessing an unprecedented time where the world is no longer quiet around the inherent inequality that exists within our society between women and men, where if you're born a woman, it means that you are immediately disadvantaged just simply because you're born a woman. That is changing, that is drastically changing. Also in countries affected by conflict where Women for Women International is working, we are seeing women being more empowered. I was recently traveling to Kosovo, and I met a woman who ran for political office for the first time in her municipality. And so we are seeing huge changes in confidence and in acceptability. But we need to be aware that much more needs to be done, and it is key that we change not just laws but attitudes. And the role of men is fundamentally important in changing these attitudes and saying that women and men need to have access to the same opportunities and resources.
Okay, Brita Fernandez Schmidt, thank you so much for joining us there from London.